Hello, it's Jodie. I hope you're all well. I've had lots of requests on how to keep your colour looking good at home whilst we're in self-isolation. So if you've used all the resources of colour crowns, Colour Wow, sprays and everything, the next step would be to now try to do your colour at home. We are sending colour packs out. If anybody needs help with colour choices or colour shades, please do get in contact with us. But this is just going to be a simple video on how to retouch a hairline tint, so the bits that we see the most, for the next 4 weeks. Okay, so I've listed all the things that you're going to need to do your root tint application. There are some things that you can substitute for. So if you don't have a tint bowl, you could always use a breakfast bowl. Any kind of bowl will work. And for measuring the colour out, I've got a measuring jug, but most of you will have kitchen scales at home, so you can use these to weigh the colour out. Gloves you definitely need, and a tint brush you definitely need. Some clips will help, but if not, hairbands are great. And some Vaseline or something that's a little bit oil based, just to create a little bit of a barrier around your hairline, just in case you paint a little bit more of your face than you hoped for. A dark towel to hand is always a good one, just so you can wipe your hands as you're going along and applying the colour, just in case you get a little bit messy. And a brush to comb your hair through before you start, so then you're not working with any tangles or anything like that. I'm going to be using the 3 more inches pre-wash treatment today because I don't have any roots to cover, but this will just be a good substitute for colour. Preparation. I would say it's probably best to do this in your bathroom, just in case there are any spillages. Wear some old clothing that you don't really care about if you do get colour on it. You could always use an open bin bag to create a cape to protect your clothing and perhaps the floor, just in case there are any spillages. If you can try and colour your hair on the day that you would normally have washed it, it does help a little bit, because it makes it a little bit more manageable when you're taking sections. If your hair's clean, it's quite flyaway, but if it's a little bit greasy, it will just be a little bit easier. And it's a bit nicer on the scalp as well if you've got some natural oils. When the colour goes on, it won't irritate, or if you do suffer with itchiness from the colour. To get started, we're gonna apply some Vaseline, just a little bit around the hairline, on the skin, not on the hair, because if you've got any white hairs around these hairlines and you get the Vaseline on it, it will act as a barrier towards the colour, so we don't want that. We just literally want to get it on the skin, just in case you paint a little bit more of your face than you planned to. Gloves on. I'm not going to wear gloves for the purpose of this video because I'm using the pre-wash 3 more inches. I don't need to use gloves, but definitely pop your gloves on. Apply your Vaseline. Comb through with your #1 brush or any brush that you've got, just to make sure there's no tangles in the hair, so that when you're going through you don't come across a knot halfway through your tint application. So I've sectioned my hair into a middle parting, so from the top of my head back here, and then from this top section down to the ear, and I've done that on both sides, and then just a ponytail at the back, so then that's not getting in my way. Let's get started. I'm going to do the right side of my head first, so I'm going to pin this left section back, or you can use a hairband, whichever you have, and then we're going to start on this right section. So if you've mixed your colour up with the brush that you're going to use to apply it, just make sure that the brush isn't full of colour, because then if it's full of colour, you have a risk of putting colour where you don't want it. So have a clean brush to start with, and we're going to hold this section down, so tension is key, and start on this top section here. So the aim of the game is to only paint what has grown through. So if you've got 1 inch of regrowth, we're only painting 1 inch of regrowth. I would say a minimum of 4 weeks is required, because it's incredibly difficult to do roots that are smaller than that. So I would wait at least 4 weeks before you start to even attempt to do a root tint on yourself. So you want to put plenty of product, especially if you've got a lot of white hair. So that's your first section. We're going to take about 1 centimetre section, so keep your sections small and clean. So So that's our first section. Get some more colour on your brush. If your hands are clean, you can use this hand to hold down the hair to again get that little bit of tension and only painting the regrowth that has come through. If you get mucky hands, use that towel that you had to hand, and if the end of the brush gets dirty, use that towel that you had to hand to wipe those down. Really try and keep your hands as clean as possible, because then you can use your hands to hold sections at the bottom. I'm just going to put a little bit more colour on that section on the other side. So we're painting both sides, this side and that side. So again, I'm going to hold that down and only paint the regrowth and going far as back as we've sectioned off. Try not to hit anything on that back section that we've tied into a ponytail. Again, another small centimetre section. Hands clean, holding down, only painting the hair that has come through. And again, painting both sides to get maximum coverage. So we're going to do this all the way down, taking small sections, centimetre sections, keeping your brush clean, keeping your hands clean, wiping in between if you have to. It is incredibly hard. I'm a technician and it's incredibly hard painting your own head. So do take your time with it and try and keep as clean as possible. So I'm just going to whiz through this bit. So when you get to these baby hairs on the hairline, these are really important that you need to get them in, but don't go over the hairline too much, because that is where those baby hairs will grab the colour so much. Where they're so small and fine, they will grab the hair, they will grab the colour quite quickly. So you don't want to oversaturate them with colour. If anything, you should probably leave them till the absolute last thing to apply to. So it does get a little bit trickier when you get round to the ear, but just persevere. It might be a little bit easier for you because you'll be looking directly into a mirror and I'm looking directly into a camera. So hopefully it will be a little bit easier for you. Just make sure you haven't missed any bits on that little ear there. And then now is probably when you can go over the hairline a little bit. Again, just don't brush up too much and try not to paint your face too much. And then with clean hands, pull those sections down that you've just done. Make sure you've got no colour on your hands when you do that, because if you have got any lighter pieces, you're going to drag the colour through onto those lighter pieces. Again, make sure you've put plenty of product, and it is more of a dabbing technique rather than painting or stroking. So you're just applying the colour where it needs to be applied. You don't want to pull it down to any further. So you can see I've just tried to work on that inch regrowth. So that is how you would work it through. So once that's all painted on nicely, whilst the colour is still wet, if you go around your hairline and just take away any colour off of the face that's not needed, that will help with staining as well. So generally you want to leave that for about 40 minutes. After 40 minutes, if you've got really white hair, you can just scrape the colour away a little bit on the hairline and see if that grey hair is covered, and you will be able to see if there is any grey hair left behind there, but generally 40 minutes should do the trick. After 40 minutes is up, we need to wash that out. So rinse really well until the water runs clear, and then 2 shampoos and conditioner, and that will be you done. Your finished result should be there. And as I said, I do think starting with a tint hairline is the best way. It's incredibly difficult, even to do the front, let alone the back. If you have somebody at home that could do it for you, great. And maybe you can do the full thing if they can do it for you, and it's just the same technique used throughout. But if you are doing it yourself, I do recommend doing a tint hairline to begin with, because it is incredibly difficult. So good luck, stay well, and can't wait to see you back in the salon soon.